Right. So now your dad is living in Honduras.
Yep.
Do you actually know that at the time, or did you find that out afterwards?
No, I didn't know when he was going to leave to go to Honduras.
But you knew he was in Honduras.
He just his girlfriend or whatever had to get a phone number. I used to have to go to a payphone back in those days with a bag full of quarters. It was like $3 or $4 each time to call him at the phone number. And he would ask me certain things, and I would tell him what was going on. And that's when I knew he was on Honduras. He actually went there because he said it was kind of more of a free reign. He said, look, if they come to try to get me here, there's going to be a shootout at the OK Corral, was his exact words. But, I talked to him a couple of times, and then there was a time when I tried to call the number, and it wasn't connected anymore. So I figured I'd find out something must have happened. I don't know what.
Right. Well, ultimately, your dad was found dead in Honduras. And it was sort of a weird situation. You're not sure whether he died from natural causes, because he was sick during that time, right?
He was sick. Supposedly, he wanted to come back and I think they said he needed a triple bypass surgery. And he spoke to somebody in my family. So now, I got some, like you said, you had so many stories about Mike Francise's name and stuff like that. Who wants to call him by his right name? In my time, I went to people who I loved and trusted. I went to my cousin, I called him Uncle, Pat Patty, who was actually supposed to be made twice. And he said to me, he said everything washes ashore. You're going to find out one day. And I said, well, geez, Uncle Pat, I said, I'd like to know now if I could. I did this when I came home from my first bid, because I saw the autopsy pictures. He said that scar is there to hide the stab wounds. Now, I loved my uncle, my cousin, whatever you want to call him. I believed him. The FBI told me when they interviewed me that time and showed me the pictures of my father, said he was murdered. Did he really die? I saw the autopsy report from Honduras. He said he died of a drug overdose. Vlad, to this day, I don't know really what happened. And all the years I spent undercover, a dear friend of mine said to me, maybe I just shouldn't know. Maybe it was not meant for me to know the truth.
Well, the FBI told you that 3 men went to go visit your dad.
They did.
Honduras. They
told me they went under my last name, Barone. And I said to him, I says, you mean to tell me you don't know who they were? The cameras in the airport? Nothing? No signatures? No, nothing? Now, why did they tell me this? I don't know. From what I understand, and I didn't realize this, but my attorney on my second bid told me that Vincent Bizzuti, who was my handler for 18 years, was some kind of one of those people who can evaluate you and know. Maybe he told me this to make me get mad and to point me and like to trigger something inside of me too. That could be as well. But they also knew this about the part where they went to go arrest him one time. They sent word to the officials in Honduras, but the officials were being paid by my father. And so they alerted him, and that's when he moved from one place to another. And that's why I couldn't call him. So I said, wow, they know that, you know? I mean, look, are they all knowing people? No. But they knew that.
Well, I'm sorry for your loss, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, I lost my dad some years back, and it's tough. I think as a son losing his dad, it's a hard one.
There's always a last time for something.
Yeah.
If I knew, maybe I would have hugged him harder.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Apologize.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Take your time.
It hasn't changed inside of me, you know?
Well, by 1991, you were around 30 years old. You get locked up for extortion and gun possession.
That's correct, yes.
And you were facing 10 years.
I think so. About 10 years, they said, yeah.
So you were allegedly robbing drug dealers, and the guns you were using had the serial number scratched off.
At one time, I was robbing some drug dealers, but not like a big, like some guys were really doing it. Like, I guess you heard of that group called the Cowboys. Mm-hmm. Those guys were pretty rough, and they were no joke. I was just robbing them on the corners and stuff like that, you know. They'd bring me, I'd show them a roll of 20s and 50s, but I wrapped it in ones, and then I'd only give them $20 in rolls, and they'd give me all the cocaine and stuff like that. So, but the serial numbers on most of my guns were scratched off back then.
Okay. Now, the extortion part of your arrest came from a guy that you were shaking down for $30,000? That owed you $30,000, that is?
It was supposed to be that he owed me $30,000. His brother really owed me more of the money. They didn't get along good and stuff like that. And I think my loan actually grew up to like that much because I wasn't being paid. There was a few things I tacked on that I shouldn't have, you know, like a gift I gave him. I gave him back in those days the Louis XIV. It was in that really expensive thing. It's probably like $3,500 now. I was just tacking on everything, you know. And so I said it was about $30,000. So I went to go see his brother, and his brother got messed up a little bit. Not really that much. He got scared. So he went to the FBI.
Well, didn't you guys put a phone cord around his neck and put a gun to his head?
Yeah. The phone cord around, it was the telephone cord went around the guy's neck, Eddie's neck. Eddie's dead now too. And then my friend pointed the gun at him, says, "Give us the money." And my other friend, who's dead now too, Biff, lifted up the whole desk. He was strong. Biff had, each one of his fingers were probably like two of mine. He was an animal. Animal. We used to work for, he was a bouncer at Sue's Rendezvous. And,
I used to go there.
Yeah. He actually got shot in the chest with a .32 and still didn't die. Damn. Didn't even go through his bone plate.
Wow.
Okay, so yeah, he was tough. He was tough.
Right. Well, but the guy that you guys were strangling and had a gun to his head was wearing a wire?
Not then. We caught him. I caught him. He was an accountant. I caught him up at his office and everything. And he was. They were. Both of the brothers were evading me. We could have came to some agreement. I liked them, you know, but they didn't, as usual. You know, nobody wants to part with money. Mm-hmm. So anyways, after that, after he got the choking and the scaring like that and everything, he must have went to the FBI. And of course, they use that as a interstate commerce or whatever they say it is, because I stopped him from doing something. I don't know, you know, they give you all those, they keep trying to tack on more stuff is what I'm saying. But what happened was he was wearing a wire on his own brother, who actually, the guy Dennis was his brother, was doing other things that I didn't know about, wire fraud and stuff like this, but he wore a wire on it. It was supposed to meet him at the Thomas C. Bible Funeral Home. Well, I was driving down, and I was with my girlfriend at the time, and I seen his car, and I knew the guys that owned the funeral home. So I said, "Oh, let me pull over real quick. There's Eddie." So I got out. I put my SAP gloves on. You know what the SAP gloves are, right?
No.
Oh, SAP gloves are weighted gloves. Like back in the days, they had lead in it, but now they put sand in them. Yeah, okay. And it actually helps you, because I broke so many bones in my hands over people's heads. I wanted to wear this not to break my hand. Plus, it actually makes you punch a little bit harder. And so I said, "Hey, Eddie, come outside." I pounded him a few times. And you heard me saying, "Where's my money?" You go, well, he hit the ground and everything. And it was a wooden porch. So when he hit the ground, I actually went like this because I was so skinny back then. And then the FBI arrested me right there.